Hi everyone, welcome to another video. This will be quite a short video, but this one has been requested quite a few times. That's how to remove the chassis from a Series 1 body. There are two methods to do this. You can remove it through the firewall, as I did, or you can cut the bottom and remove the chassis from underneath. Removing the chassis through the bottom has an upside, that is the fiberglass repairs to put the chassis back in are a bit easier, but once you've cut the bottom, the body itself will lose quite a bit of its rigidity and it will flex, so you have to be careful how you repair it. Removing the chassis through the firewall is quite a bit of work, but I think it's the right method to do it, so I'll show you step by step what you need to do. Now, I did this a couple of years ago, so the chassis isn't in the car at the moment, but I can still show you where to cut the fiberglass to get the chassis out the easy way. The first thing that you'll need to do is you have to drill out all of the rivets that hold the chassis to the body. There are a few in the trunk on the front, then underneath the T-section, underneath the backbone, and then some in the seats. I'll show you all one by one. So this is the front luggage compartment, or whatever you want to call it. These are the access holes for the pedals. My car, being one of the early S1s, has two. The later ones have just the indentation for one and then the other one cut out. There are 5 rivets in this indentation, so one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. And you can see that you can see these indentations from where the thick washers were to sandwich the fiberglass between the washer and the chassis. Okay, so the next rivets that you want to remove are in the center console. I think there are 4 and they're around the shifter and inside the dashboard, right behind the center dash panel. They're quite easy to spot, but you have to remember to remove them. Then there are 6 bolts, 3 on either side. They go through the seat backs and then they bolt to right where the chassis will split into the Y section in the rear. So you have to remove these. The nuts are on the inside of the chassis, so you have to go through the engine compartment to hold the nuts, otherwise they'll spin. It's quite a tricky job. You'll need 2 people for that ideally. So I'll just take a stick to point. These are the locations where the 6 bolts go through the seats, and the nuts are on the inside of the Y section in the rear. So you have to stand here to remove these. And then there are 4 large bolts that bolt the chassis to the body, and these go through these reinforced bobbins. So there are 2 on your side. And last but not least, you have some fiberglass strips that cover the rear hoop for the gearbox. So you have to cut that and have to break off the fiberglass. And then there are quite a few rivets that go underneath chassis, right along the edges. They're always in pairs. I think every 15 centimeters has a pair of rivets, so there are quite a few. So you have to drill out all of them. They go right to the T-section as well, don't forget those. And then you have to cut the fiberglass in the footwells and along the seats, and I'll show you that now. Okay, so now you have to cut the firewall. You have to go around this edge, then beneath the headrests, inside of the seat back, then across again in the fold from the seat, then alongside the center tunnel, and then you have to chop up a piece of the dashboard, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll remove this section so you have a clearer idea of what you need to remove. I'll go handheld for a minute so I can show you all the small pieces. So you have to cut across below the headrests, then up. And it's essential that you don't forget this piece, because the chassis will have to go up when it's going out of the engine compartment, and this section you'll need to remove for the backbone to clear. And then you'll need to remove the bottom part of the dashboard. So this would be on like this, and you need to cut it in one piece so it's nice and easy to repair. And you have to also cut it alongside the center console. And you'll have to cut in the footwells alongside these little edges. It's quite difficult to see, but you have to cut there on both sides. So this is a shot from the front wheel well. I first cut a small section from the footwell, but it wouldn't budge. The T-section is bonded in very firmly to the body. So I also made some cuts inside the wheel well along the edges where it was bonded. That made it a little bit easier to remove, but this was by far the hardest job to cut and to remove the front T-section, which is bonded in so well. Once you feel that the chassis has been freed from the body, you can try and move it, but you'll need a few people. It was me and two friends, but I think we could have used another person. And you can slide it to the rear, and I think an engine hoist would help as well, but you have to get it underneath, and then you have to get it up and over the engine compartment, and it's quite a big job. But it's quite satisfying once it's worked. And this is the view that you'll have once it's out. So as you can see, the bottom stays completely intact, and the body is actually quite rigid. So you don't have to worry about flexing, and you can do some repairs while the chassis is out of the car. I'll end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope also that it helps to inform you a bit what you need to do to remove your body from your Series 1 Europa. There's also an excellent article written by John Collier on the Europa forums, so you need to check that out before you start your work. As always, if there are any questions or comments, just post them below or send me an email through my website. I'm happy to answer them. You can also visit my blog where you can read up on all the things that I do. And I hope I'll see you next time. Goodbye.